The Great Hall of the Galactic Council was huge, so huge that a person could fit 10 football fields inside it. The walls went up so high that clouds formed near the ceiling. Today, those walls buzzed with angry voices from 12 different alien races. Ambassador Jin Hyuk walked into the hall with calm steps. His black suit looked simple next to the fancy robes and armor of the aliens around him. Behind him walked Colonel Rin Su. She wore her military uniform with pride. Her hand never moved far from her weapon. Next to her was Dr. Min Woo. He carried a small bag with papers and data pads. The three humans looked tiny in the massive space. Thousands of alien beings filled the seats that rose up like a mountain around them. Some aliens had 4 arms. Others had scales instead of skin. A few glowed with their own light. All of them stared at the humans with hate in their eyes. "Look at them," whispered Chancellor Valthek to his aide. 3 little humans think they can stand against us all." The Chancellor was 8 feet tall. His skin was blue and covered in sharp spikes. His yellow eyes glowed as he looked down at the human group. Valthek stood up from his throne. The hall became quiet. When he spoke, his voice was like thunder. "Humans of Earth, you stand before the united power of the galaxy. Today you will learn your place." Jin Hyuk did not move. He kept his hands behind his back and looked straight ahead. "For too long your kind has spread across our space," Valthek continued. "You take our planets. You build your cities where you do not belong. You act like you own the galaxy." Admiral Kethmer stood up next. He was the leader of the Keth people. His people looked like giant insects with metal parts stuck to their bodies. The Keth Confederation agrees. Humans are a disease that spreads too fast. One by one, leaders from 10 other races stood up. Each one said the same thing. Humans were the problem. Humans had to be stopped. Dr. Min Woo wrote notes on his datapad. He did not look worried. Colonel Rin Su counted the aliens in the room. She did not look scared either. "You want to know our power?" Valthek asked. His voice got louder. "We have 50,000 warships. You have 3,000. We have weapons that can destroy stars. You have toys." The alien crowd cheered. Some stomped their feet. Others made loud noises with their mouths. The sound was like a storm. Jin Hyuk still did not move. Supreme Arbiter Kaleth was the oldest. Being in the room, he had seen 1,000 years pass. His body was made of living crystal that changed colors when he spoke. Now he glowed red with anger. "Humans," Kaleth said, "you will listen to our terms. You have no choice." He waved his hand. A huge screen appeared in the air above the humans. Words appeared on the screen in many languages. The human language was at the top. "First," Kaleth read, "all human settlements must leave the disputed worlds. You have 30 days. Jin Hyuk looked up at the screen but said nothing. "Second, humans will pay for the damage you have caused. The amount is 1 trillion galactic credits per year for 100 years. Some aliens laughed at this. The amount was huge. No race could pay that much. Third, every human world will accept our observers. They will watch everything you do. They will make sure you follow our rules." Colonel Rin Su made a small sound. It might have been a laugh, but it was so quiet that only Dr. Min Woo heard it. "Fourth, humans will give us your military secrets. We want to know how your ships work. We want to know how your weapons work. Fifth, no human ship may leave your home systems without our permission." The list went on and on. Each demand was worse than the last. The aliens wanted to control everything about human life. They wanted humans to become slaves. When Kaleth finished reading, the hall became quiet again. All eyes turned to Jin Hyuk. "These terms are generous," Valthek said. "We could ask for much more. We could ask for your complete surrender." "You have 72 hours to agree," Admiral Kethmer added. "If you do not agree, we will destroy every human world. We will kill every human in space. Your race will end." The threats hung in the air like poison gas. Most races would be begging for mercy by now. Most races would agree to anything to save their people. Jin Hyuk slowly raised his head. He looked around the room at all the alien faces. Some looked angry, some looked happy. All of them looked sure that they had won. Is there anything you wish to say? Caliph asked. Any questions about our terms? Jin Hyuk was quiet for a long moment. The hall was so quiet that everyone could hear their own breathing. Dr. Min Woo closed his datapad. Colonel Rin Su moved her hand away from her weapon. Both of them looked at their ambassador. Ambassador Jin Hyuk, Valfik said. His voice was like ice now. The galaxy is waiting for your answer. Will you save your people, or will you watch them die for your pride? The alien leaders smiled. They knew that no one could refuse such terms. No race was strong enough to fight the whole galaxy. No race was brave enough to choose war over peace. Jin Hyuk took a step forward. The sound of his shoe on the floor echoed through the huge hall. Every alien leaned forward to hear what he would say. Would he beg? Would he cry? Would he agree to make his people slaves? The ambassador of Earth opened his mouth to speak. His voice was clear and calm. What he said next would change the galaxy. Forever, the aliens waited. The moment of human surrender had finally come, or so they thought. Jin Hyuk looked up at the thousands of alien faces staring down at him. Their eyes were full of hate and pride. They thought they had already won. They thought humans would beg like scared children. The Terran Federation has heard your terms, Jin Hyuk said. His voice was calm and clear. It carried to every corner of the huge hall. Chancellor Velfek smiled. His sharp teeth showed. Good. Then you accept our generous offer? Jin Hyuk shook his head slowly. No, the Terran Federation respectfully declines your terms. The hall exploded with noise. Aliens jumped to their feet. Some screamed in their own languages. Others made sounds like angry animals. The noise was like a thunderstorm. Silence. Supreme Arbiter Caliph crystal body flashed bright red. The hall became quiet again. But the aliens kept staring at Jin Hyuk like he was crazy. Did you say no? Admiral Kethmar asked. His insect-like head turned side to side. You said no to our terms? That is correct, Jin Hyuk replied. We decline your offer. Velthik stood up so fast that his chair fell over. You fool? Do you not understand? We have 50,000 ships. You have 3,000. We can destroy your entire race. We understand the numbers, Colonel Rinsu said. She stepped forward. Her voice was like steel. We also understand that you mistake our presence here for weakness. Dr. Minwoo opened his datapad again. He began typing something. The aliens watched him with growing fear. What was he doing? Furthermore, Jin Hyuk continued, the Terran Federation withdraws from all future negotiations regarding this matter. Humanity will chart its own course. The hall became so quiet you could hear a pin drop. No race had ever walked away from peace talks. Not when facing total war. Not when facing certain death. Caliph's crystal body flashed many colors. You cannot simply walk away. Do you comprehend the forces arrayed against you? We comprehend. Perfectly, Rinsu replied. Do you comprehend what you're really asking us to do? We are asking you to live, Velthik shouted. We are giving you a chance to save your people. Jin Hyuk smiled for the first time. It was not a happy smile. It was the smile of a person who knew a secret. You are asking us to become slaves. You are asking us to give up everything that makes us human. Better slaves than dead, Admiral Kethmar said. No, Jin Hyuk said simply. It is not better. Dr. Minwoo finished typing on his datapad. He looked up at Jin Hyuk and nodded. Effective immediately, Dr. Minwoo announced. All human territories are under complete communications blackout. Any alien vessel attempting to enter our space will be considered hostile. The aliens looked at each other in shock. A communications blackout meant no talking. No messages, no way to know what humans were doing. You cannot do this, Kayla said. His crystal body was now bright white with fear. The galaxy has rules. There are laws. Your laws, Rinsu said. Your rules, we never agreed to them. This, is madness, whispered General Torvak of the Silthari Empire. He was a tall alien with blue skin and 4 arms. No race survives alone, Jin Hyuk heard him. We are not alone. We have each other. That is enough. Velthik was shaking with rage. You think 3,000 ships can fight 50,000?
Yeah.
Think your tiny human brains can outsmart the galaxy? We think, Jin Hyuk said slowly, that you have made a very big mistake. What mistake? Velthik demanded. You think we came here to surrender? Jin Hyuk replied. You think we came here because we were afraid? Why else would you come? Admiral Kethmer asked. Jin Hyuk looked around the hall one more time. We came here to be polite. We came here to give you one last chance to leave us alone. The aliens stared at him. They did not understand. You had your chance, Dr. Min-Woo said. He put his datapad away. Now you will learn why humans survived on a planet that tried to kill them every day for 1,000,000 years. Colonel Rinsu turned toward the exit. Gentlemen, I believe we are done here. The three humans began walking toward the door. Their footsteps echoed in the silent hall. Wait, Caliph called out. You cannot leave. We are not finished. Jin Hyuk stopped and turned around. Yes, you are finished. You just don't know it yet. This is not how diplomacy works, Velthik screamed. This is not diplomacy, Rinsu said without turning around. This is a declaration. A declaration of what? Admiral Kethmer asked. Doctor. Min-Woo answered him. A declaration that humanity chooses its own path, always. The humans reached the door. Jin Hyuk stopped one more time. He looked back at the thousands of aliens staring at him. You wanted to know if we understand the forces against us, he said. Here is our answer. You are about to learn the forces against you. What forces? Velthik demanded. You have 3,000 ships. We have something better, Jin Hyuk replied. We have something you will never understand. What is that supposed to mean? Jin Hyuk smiled again. This time it was a real smile. It means you picked the wrong species to threaten. The humans walked out of the hall. The great doors closed behind them with a loud sound that echoed like thunder. Inside the hall, thousands of aliens sat in shocked silence in 10,000. Years of galactic history, no race had ever simply walked away from peace negotiations. No race had ever chosen war over surrender when facing such odds. Chancellor Velthik fell back into his chair. His blue skin had turned pale. What have we done? He whispered. Supreme Arbiter Caleth's crystal body flickered between colors. He was trying to understand what had just happened. They chose death over slavery, he said quietly. No, Admiral Kethmer said. His insect eyes were wide with fear. They chose something else. What? They chose to fight. The hall remained silent for a long time. Outside, 3 human ships left the station and disappeared into space. Behind them, they left 50,000 alien warships and a galaxy that had no idea what was coming next. The war was about to begin. But it would not be the war the aliens expected. 3 weeks had passed since the humans walked out of the Galactic Council. 3 weeks of complete silence from human space. Not one message. Not one signal. Nothing. Admiral Kethmer stood in the command center of his flagship. The room was full of screens showing maps of the galaxy. Red dots marked human worlds. There were over 200 of them. All of them were now dark. Still nothing, sir, reported Captain Ziltok. She was a young Keth officer with bright green shell armor. Our communication stations have tried every frequency. No response from any human world. Kethmar's insect eyes clicked as he thought. What about our spy networks? Our agents on human worlds? Gone silent too, sir, every single one. This worried Kethmer more than he wanted to admit. The Keth had agents everywhere. They had been watching human worlds for years. How could they all disappear at once? Send another scout ship to the Sol system, he ordered. I want to know what the humans are doing. Sir, Captain Ziltok said quietly, that would be the 15th scout ship we've sent. None of them have come back. Kethmer turned to stare at her. What do you mean none have come back? They reached the edge of human space and then ... nothing, no explosion. No distress call, they just stopped transmitting. Across the galaxy, Chancellor Velthek was having the same problem. He paced back and forth in his war room. His blue skin was darker than usual. This was a sign that he was very worried. "General?" "Mordok," he called to his aide. "What news from our reconnaissance missions?" General Mordok was an old soldier with scars covering his spike-covered skin. "Bad news, Chancellor. We've lost contact with 12 ships this week alone." "Destroyed?" "We don't know. There's no debris. No energy signatures. They just vanish." Velthik stopped pacing. "Ships don't just vanish. Human space is like a black hole now," Mordok said. "Things go in, but nothing comes out." In another part of the galaxy, Supreme Arbiter Kyleth was meeting with the other council leaders. His crystal body was flashing nervous colors, yellow, orange, purple. "This silence is not normal," he said to the group. "No race can coordinate so perfectly. No race can keep secrets this well." "Perhaps they are preparing to surrender," suggested Ambassador Pictu of the Zoran hegemony. "His people look like walking trees with glowing eyes." Kyleth's body flashed. "Red, no, this feels different. This feels like preparation for war." Unknown to the aliens, they were right. But they had no idea what kind of preparation the humans were making, deep in human space. On a world called New Sol, Fleet Commander Da-Hoon was watching the biggest military operation in human history. "Report," he said to his aide, Lieutenant. "Hi, Rin, all defense platforms are online," she reported. "Mines are placed in every approach route. Quantum communication network is working perfectly." Da-Hoon nodded. The humans had been preparing for this day for 20 years, while the aliens thought humans were just explorers and traders. They had been building the most advanced defense network in the galaxy. "What about the production facilities?" Da-Hoon asked. "Running at full capacity. We're building ships faster than we ever have before." This was the human secret. While other races had big central factories, humans had small factories on every world. When the aliens cut off communications, they thought they were isolating humans. Instead, they had freed humans to work without being watched. On Earth, Dr. Eugene was working in her laboratory. She was studying alien psychology, how alien minds worked. Her research was about to become very important. "The aliens think like a group mind," she explained to her assistant, Dr. Tae-woo. "When they make decisions, everyone has to agree. This makes them slow." "How slow?" Tae-woo asked. "Very slow. It takes them days to change their plans." "We can change our plans in minutes." This was another human advantage. While alien fleets needed orders from far away, human captains could make their own decisions. This made them much faster in a fight. In space, Captain Bo-mi was commanding a new kind of human ship. It was small and fast. Most importantly, it was invisible to alien sensors. "Test run complete," she reported to command. "The stealth systems work perfectly. I was able to get within a kilometer of their patrol ship. They never saw me." This was the most dangerous human secret. While aliens built big, powerful ships, humans had built small, invisible ones. A human ship could be right next to an alien ship, and the aliens would never know. The aliens were starting to panic. Every day, more scout ships disappeared. Every day, the silence from human space continued. "We should attack now," General Torvak told the War Council. "Before they finish. Whatever they're planning." "Attack what?" Admiral Kethmar asked. "We don't know where their fleets are. We don't know what they're doing. We don't even know if they're still alive." "Of course they're alive," Velthik said. "Dead people don't make ships disappear." The aliens were learning something important about humans. When humans were backed into a corner, they didn't panic. They didn't beg. They worked. For 3 weeks, over 200 human worlds had worked together like parts of a giant machine. No alien race had ever seen anything like it. "It's impossible," Kyleth said during an emergency council meeting. 200 worlds cannot work in perfect coordination. There must be chaos. There must be confusion, but there was no chaos in human space. There was only preparation. Dr. Min Woo was back on Earth now. He was in a meeting with human military leaders. On the table were detailed plans for what would happen next. "The aliens think we're hiding," he said. They think we're afraid. They're about to learn that we were just getting ready. How much longer? Asked General Sung-ho. The network is complete, Minwoo replied. All worlds are connected. All defenses are in place. We're ready. Outside, the first alien attack fleet was finally moving toward human space. 50,000 ships, just like they had promised. The largest fleet in galactic history. The aliens thought they were going to destroy a weak, scared enemy. They thought they would find humans begging for mercy. They were about to discover that 3 weeks of silence had not made humans weaker. 3 weeks of silence had made humans ready for war. Admiral Kethmer stood on the bridge of his flagship as the largest war fleet in galactic history moved toward human space. 50,000 ships stretched out in all directions. The sight should have filled him with confidence. Instead, he felt worried. All ships report ready, Admiral, Captain Ziltok announced. We reached the human border in 2 hours. Kethmar nodded but said nothing. 3 weeks of silence had made him nervous. What were the humans doing during all that time? Sir, the communications officer called out, we're getting strange readings from the border systems. What kind of readings? Energy signatures we've never seen before, and sir, there are a lot of them. 2 hours later, the alien fleet reached the edge of human space. What they found changed everything. By the ancient gods, whispered Chancellor. Velthek from his command ship, what is that? Where once there had been empty space between star systems, now there were structures. Huge metal platforms floated in the darkness. Each one was the size of a city. They were covered in weapons that pointed outward like the spikes on Velthek's skin. Those weren't there 3 weeks ago, Admiral Kethmer said. How did they build so many so fast? Sir, his sensor officer reported, I'm reading thousands of these platforms. They're in every system along the border, every single one? General. Mordok was watching from another ship. His scarred face showed fear for the first time in 50 years of fighting. It's like they turned the entire border into a wall. But the platforms were not the only surprise. As the alien fleet moved closer, more things appeared on their sensors. Mines, reported Captain Ziltok. Thousands of them. No, tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands. The space between the alien fleet and the human systems was full of floating bombs. They were small and hard to see. But there were so many of them that they formed a deadly cloud. How many? Kethmar asked. I've stopped counting, sir. There are too many. On his flagship, Velthek was getting angry. They cannot have built all this in 3 weeks. It's impossible. His science officer, Dr. Kelmar, was studying the readings. Chancellor, I think they've been building this for years. Maybe decades. What do you mean? These platforms show advanced construction. This level of coordination takes time to plan. The humans have been preparing for this war for a very long time. The alien leaders were learning something they should have known before. Humans were very good at planning ahead. Sir, Captain Ziltok suddenly shouted. Energy spike from the human platforms. Are they attacking? Kethmer demanded. No, sir. It looks like ... communications. They're all talking to each other. Across the alien fleet, every ship was seeing the same thing. The human defense platforms were sending signals to each other. At the speed of light? In seconds, every platform in human space knew that aliens had arrived. It's a network, Dr. Kelmer said with wonder. They've connected every defensive position. They can coordinate instantly across their entire territory. Supreme. Arbiter Kaleth was watching from the Council's special ship. His crystal body was flashing rapid colors as he tried to understand what he was seeing. This changes everything, he said to his aide. We expected to fight scattered human fleets. Instead, we're facing a unified defense grid. The aliens had always fought wars the old way. Big fleets would attack enemy worlds one at a time. It was slow, but it worked because most races couldn't coordinate their defenses. Humans had built something completely different. Their defenses were all connected. Attack one system, and every other system would know about it instantly. Admiral, Kethmar's weapons officer called out, the Vanguard fleet is requesting permission to attack. Kethmar looked at the 10,000 ships of his advance force. They were his best ships with his best crews. Permission granted. Begin. The attack. The Vanguard fleet moved forward toward the human border. As soon as they entered the minefield, the attack began, but it was not the aliens who attacked first. The human platforms opened fire all at once. Thousands of energy beams lit up space like deadly lightning. The alien ships that had been invisible in the darkness were suddenly caught in a web of light and death. Bomi was commanding the defense of the Vega system. She watched from her control center as the alien ships flew into their trap. Target the lead ships, she ordered. Cut off their head and the body will panic. Her weapons officers were the best in the human fleet. They had trained for this moment for years. Their aim was perfect. The first wave of alien ships died in minutes. Their shields could not stop the human weapons. Their armor melted like ice in the sun. Impossible! Admiral Kethmer shouted as he watched half his Vanguard fleet disappear. How are their weapons so powerful? Dr. Kalmar was working frantically at his station. Sir, these energy readings are off the charts. These weapons are more advanced than anything we've seen. While the aliens had spent years fighting each other, humans had spent years building better weapons. Human scientists had worked together across 200 worlds. They had shared every discovery, every improvement. The result was weapons that could cut through alien armor like it was paper. Sir, Captain Ziltok reported, the Vanguard is retreating. Kethmer could not believe what he was hearing. Retreating? They outnumber the defenders. The survivors report that the human defenses are too strong. They're falling back to regroup. Of the 10,000 ships that had attacked, only 4,000 made it back. 6,000 of the galaxy's best warships had been destroyed in less than an hour. Chancellor Velthik was screaming orders at his fleet commanders. This is just their border defenses. Once we break through, they'll be helpless. But General Mordock was not so sure. Chancellor, if this is just their border, what do their main defenses look like? The question hung in space like the smoke from burning alien ships. Captain Bomi was making her report to Fleet Command. First attack repelled. Enemy losses are heavy. Our losses are 0. 0. The humans had not lost a single ship or platform. The aliens had lost 6,000 ships. Dr. Eugene was watching the battle from her laboratory on Earth. She was taking notes on alien behavior. They're confused, she told her assistant. They expected us to fight like them, ship to ship, fleet to fleet. Instead, we're fighting like humans. What does that mean? Dr. Taewoo asked. It means we're fighting smart. We use the ground to our advantage, we prepare, we coordinate, we think ahead. The alien fleet was learning that humans did not fight fair. They did not line up their ships and trade shots like gentlemen. They built traps and used teamwork. Sir, Admiral Kethmer, communications officer, reported, we're getting reports from other sectors. The humans have these same defenses everywhere, every border system, every approach route. It's the same pattern repeated across their entire territory. The aliens were starting to understand the size of what the humans had built. It was not just a few defense platforms. It was a wall around all of human space, a wall with teeth. Supreme Arbiter Kaleth made the announcement. That would echo through the fleet. We are not fighting a collection of human worlds. We are fighting humanity itself. The revelation was complete. The humans had not spent 3 weeks hiding. They had spent 3 weeks activating the largest defensive network in galactic history. The war was just beginning. But already, the aliens knew they had made a terrible mistake. The alien fleet pulled back from the human border to lick their wounds. Admiral Kethmer had lost 6,000 ships in one day. Now he needed time to think and plan. Set up a defensive perimeter, he ordered. Put our supply ships in the center. Guard them well. Captain Ziltok looked confused. Sir, why are we worried about supply ships? The humans are trapped behind their defenses. They can't reach us here. Kethmar's insect eyes clicked nervously. Captain, we've been wrong about humans before. I don't want to be wrong again. He was right to be worried. 2 days later, Commander. Hansik was floating in space in a ship so small it could barely fit 3 people. But this little ship had something no alien vessel had ever seen. It was completely invisible. Target acquired, his pilot, Lieutenant Junho, whispered. 1. Alien supply convoy, 20 cargo ships, 5 escorts. Hansik smiled in the darkness of his tiny cockpit. Too easy. They're flying in a straight line like they're going to a picnic. The human stealth ship drifted closer to the alien convoy. The aliens had no idea death was approaching them. Weapons ready? Hansik asked his gunner, Sergeant Kyung-min. Ready? Sir? But sir, there are 25 ships down there? We're just one small ship. Hansik's smile got wider. That's 24 more than we need. The human ship attacked without warning. Its weapons were not big, but they were precise. The first shot hit the convoy's fuel ship. The explosion lit up space like a new star. The other ships panicked. They scattered in all directions, trying to escape an enemy they could not see. Pick them off one by one, Hansik ordered. Don't let any escape to tell what happened. 10 minutes later, 25 alien ships were floating debris. The human ship disappeared back into the darkness as if it had never been there. Across the galaxy, the same thing was happening everywhere. Human hunter ships appeared from nowhere, destroyed alien convoys, and vanished like ghosts. Captain A-Rin was commanding another type of human ship. Her vessel looked like a normal cargo transport. But hidden inside were the most advanced computer systems humans had ever built. Target in range, her systems officer, Lieutenant So-Yan, reported. 1 alien battleship. It's requesting permission to dock with the space station. Perfect, A-Rin said. Begin the hack. The human ship sent invisible signals to the alien battleship. The aliens had built their computers to prevent their own people from rebelling. They had never thought about an enemy who could speak their computer language. In seconds. A-Rin's ship took control of the alien battleship systems. What do you want me to do with it? So-Yan asked. Turn their weapons on their own space station. A-Rin replied. Let's see how they like friendly fire. The alien crew watched in horror as their own ship began shooting at their own base. They pressed every button, pulled every lever, but nothing worked. Their ship would not obey them. How is this possible? The alien captain screamed. His answer came when the space station exploded, taking his ship with it. The psychological effect was devastating. Alien crews began to fear their own ships. If humans could take control of alien vessels, nowhere was safe. Admiral Kethmer was getting reports. That made no sense. Sir, we've lost another supply convoy, Captain Ziltok reported. That's the 10th one this week. How? Where are these human ships coming from? We don't know, sir. Our sensors never detect them. They attack and disappear like they were never there. Kethmer hit his command table with his fist. Ships don't just appear and disappear. Find them. But finding the human hunters was impossible. They were everywhere and nowhere. They struck without warning and left no trace. Chancellor Velthek was having the same problems. His blue skin had turned almost black with stress. General Mordock, what is our supply situation? He asked. The old soldier's face was grim. Chancellor. We're losing 3 supply ships for every one that gets through. At this rate, we'll run out of fuel and ammunition in 2 weeks. 2 weeks? We have the largest fleet in galactic history. Yes, sir. But large fleets need large amounts of supplies. The humans are cutting our supply lines faster than we can protect them. This was the human strategy. They did not try to fight the alien fleet directly. Instead, they attacked what the fleet needed to survive: food, fuel, ammunition, spare parts. Dr. Eugene had planned this from the beginning. Large fleets are like large animals, she had told the human commanders. They need lots of food. Cut off the food and they starve. The aliens were learning that humans fought wars differently. Alien commanders thought about glory and honor. Human commanders thought about logistics and efficiency. Sir, Captain Ziltok suddenly shouted. Emergency signal from the hegemony fleet. What kind of emergency? They're surrendering, sir? Kethmer could not believe his ears. Surrendering? To whom? To the humans, sir. Apparently, half their ships have been destroyed or captured. The rest are out of fuel. The Zoran hegemony had brought 8,000 ships to the war. Now they were begging for mercy from an enemy they had never actually fought. How can you surrender to ships you can't see? Kethmer wondered aloud. The answer was simple. The humans had turned the war into a hunting game. The aliens were the prey. Commander Hans Sake was getting ready for his biggest mission yet. Intelligence had found the location of the alien fleet's main fuel depot. It was hidden in an asteroid field, protected by 100 warships. "This is suicide," Lieutenant Jun-Ho said as they approached the target. 100 ships, sir. Even. We can't fight that many. We're not going to fight them, Hans-Sik replied. We're going to make them fight each other. The human ship slipped through the asteroid field like a snake. When it reached the fuel depot, Hans-Sik began the most daring plan of the war. Send false signals to the guard ships, he ordered. Make each group think the other groups are human ships in disguise. Sir, that's brilliant, Sergeant Kyung-min said with admiration. The alien guard ships received Hans-Sik's fake signals. Each group thought the others had been taken over by humans. They began shooting at each other. In 20 minutes, the 100 alien warships had destroyed themselves. Not one human shot had been fired. Now, Hans-Sik said calmly, destroy the fuel depot. The explosion could be seen from 3 star systems away, Supreme Arbiter. Kalith was in an emergency meeting with what was left of the alien alliance. We have lost 60% of our supply ships, he announced. His crystal body was flashing red with panic. Our fleets are running out of everything they need to fight. How is this possible? Demanded Ambassador Pictou. We have not seen more than a handful of human ships. That's the point, Kalith replied. We don't see them, they see us. They know where we are, but we don't know where they are. The aliens. We're discovering that humans had mastered the art of invisible warfare. While alien ships were big and bright and easy to spot, human ships were small and dark and impossible to find. What do we do? Asked General Tor VK. Kalith's body flashed. Many colors, as he thought. We have only one choice. We must retreat and regroup. Retreat? Torvak could not believe it. We came here with 50,000 ships, and we have 30,000 left, Kalith replied. If we stay here, the humans will bleed us to death one supply ship at a time. The great alien alliance was falling apart, not because they had lost a great battle, but because they could not fight an enemy they could not see. Captain A-Rin was watching the alien retreat from her invisible ship. They're running, she reported to command. The great Galactic Alliance is running from an enemy they never actually fought. The hunt was over. The aliens had learned that sometimes the scariest enemy is the one you cannot see, and humans had learned that they were very good at being scary. 6 months had passed since the humans walked out of the Galactic Council. 6 months since the aliens thought they would crush humanity with their mighty fleet. Now, everything had changed. Ambassador Jin Hyuk walked into the same great hall where it all began. But this time, he was not walking in as a prisoner begging for mercy. He was walking in as the representative of the most feared race in the galaxy. The hall was much emptier now. Only half the alien races had come to this meeting. The others were too ashamed to show their faces. Chancellor Velthik sat in his throne, but he looked like a broken man. His blue skin was pale and gray. His spike-covered body seemed smaller somehow. The proud warrior who had threatened to destroy humanity was now afraid to look Jin Hyuk in the eye. The Terran Federation acknowledges the request for new peace. Negotiations, Jin Hyuk announced. His voice echoed in the quiet hall. However, this time we will be presenting our terms. Admiral Kethmer shifted nervously in his seat. Of his 50,000 ships, only 15,000 were left. The rest had been destroyed or captured by an enemy he had never actually seen. Before we begin, Jin Hyuk continued, let me introduce some new faces to this council. The great doors opened and several alien representatives walked in. But these aliens were different. They wore human military uniforms. They carried human weapons. They walked with the confidence of winners. These are the representatives of the races that chose to join humanity rather than fight us, Jin Hyuk explained. The Altari Collective, the Rigel Republic, the Centauri Federation, and 12 others. Supreme Arbiter Kaleth S. Crystal Body. Flashed pale colors. Impossible. No race has ever switched sides in the middle of a war. No race has ever had a choice before, replied Commander Dahun, who had just entered the hall. We offered them a simple deal. Join us and prosper, or fight us and disappear. The truth was that 15 alien races had secretly contacted humanity during the war. They had seen which way the wind was blowing. They had chosen the winning side. Dr. Min Woo stepped forward with a datapad. Let me share some numbers with the Council, he said. The great alliance that threatened humanity started with 50,000 ships. Today, you have less than 20,000 ships that can still fight. That's impossible, whispered General Mordok. We only lost about 15,000 ships in direct combat. Correct, Dr. Min Woo replied with a cold smile. The other 15,000 defected to humanity, including their crews. The hall erupted in angry voices. Aliens shouted at each other in a dozen languages. Some accused others of being traitors. Others demanded to know how this had happened. Silence. Jin Hyuk's voice cut through the noise like a sword. The hall became quiet instantly. You want to know how this happened? Jin Hyuk asked. I'll tell you. You assumed that fear was stronger than hope. You assumed that beings would rather be slaves under you than free partners with us. You were wrong. Captain A. Rin had been watching from the back of the hall. Now she moved forward to stand beside Jin Hyuk. She was no longer commanding a small stealth ship. Now she was an admiral in the Terran Federation fleet. The races that joined us keep their governments, she announced. They keep their cultures. They keep their freedom. We ask only that they treat their neighbors with respect. This was the human secret that the old alliance could never understand. Humans did not want to rule the galaxy. They wanted to be left alone to live as they chose. But, Admiral A. Rin continued, those who chose to fight us have learned what happens when you threaten human freedom. Chancellor Velthek finally found his voice. What are your terms? Jin Hyuk smiled. It was not a cruel smile, but it was not kind either. Our terms are simple. First, you will formally apologize for your attempted genocide of the human race. Genocide? Kaleth protested. We offered you terms of surrender. You offered us slavery, Colonel Rinsu said as she joined the group. You demanded that we give up everything that makes us human. That is genocide. Second, Jin Hyuk continued, you will pay compensation for the ships and lives lost in your attack on our territory. How much? Kethmer asked nervously. Dr. Min Woo consulted his datapad. For the Keth Confederation, the amount is 500 billion credits. For the Veltar Empire, 800 billion credits. The amounts were huge, but they were not impossible to pay. The humans were not trying to destroy the alien economies. They were teaching a lesson. Third, Jin Hyuk announced, you will recognize the new Galactic Charter. A huge screen appeared above the hall. Text began scrolling in many languages. But this time, the human language was at the top. The new charter establishes the right of self-determination, Jin Hyuk explained. No race may force its will upon another race. No race may demand tribute or submission from another race. All beings have the right to live according to their own values. Kaleth S. Crystal Body flashed many colors as he read the charter. This changes everything. This ends the old system of galactic politics. Exactly, Jin Hyuk replied. The old system was based on the strong forcing their will on the weak. The new system is based on mutual respect. And if we refuse these terms? Velthek asked. Admiral A. Rin answered him. Then you will discover that the war is not over. It has barely begun. The aliens looked at each other with fear. They had seen what human hunters could do. They had learned that humanity could make ships disappear. They had no desire to continue fighting an enemy that fought like ghosts. Velthek's voice cracked. We accept your terms. One by one, the other alien leaders agreed. They had no choice. The great alliance that had threatened to destroy humanity was now begging for mercy from the race they had tried to enslave. Excellent, Jin-hyuk said. But before we finish, there is one more thing. The hall fell silent again. The being known as Chancellor Velthak is hereby charged with crimes against sentient life, Jin-hyuk announced. He will be tried by a court of his own people for leading them into an illegal war. 2 Veltar soldiers entered the hall. They wore human-made uniforms and carried human-made weapons. They walked to Velthak's throne. You do bought my own people? Velthak asked in shock. We offered them a choice, Dr. Minwoo replied. Support a leader who starts wars for his own glory, or support leaders who work for peace and prosperity. They chose peace. As Velthak was led away in chains, the other alien leaders understood the final lesson. Humanity had not just defeated their fleets, they had defeated their ideas. The old way of ruling through fear and force was finished. The Terran Federation wishes to trade and cooperate with all peaceful races, Jin-hyuk announced to the assembly. But we will never again tolerate threats to our freedom or our people. Those who respect us will find us generous friends. Those who threaten us will find us dangerous enemies. The meeting was over. The aliens filed out of the hall in silence. The great powers that had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years were now just ordinary races trying to rebuild their lives. Outside the hall, Captain Du Young was preparing his ship for launch. He commanded humanity's first deep space exploration vessel. While the old alien races were dealing with the consequences of their failed war, humans were ready to explore new parts of the galaxy. Captain, his communications officer called out, we're receiving a signal from an unknown alien race. They're asking for ... ship? Du Young smiled. Signal back that the Terran Federation is always interested in meeting peaceful neighbors. As his ship jumped to hyperspace, Du Young thought about how much the galaxy had changed. 6 months ago, aliens had tried to force humanity to submit. Now, they were asking for humanity's friendship. The message was clear to every race in the galaxy. Humans would not be pushed around. They would not be threatened. They would not be forced to live by other people's rules, but they were also fair. They were generous to friends and allies. They kept their promises and honored their agreements. The galaxy had learned that some races earn respect not through submission, but through strength, independence, and the courage to walk away from bad deals, and sometimes walking away is the bravest thing you can do. The age of human expansion had begun. Not through conquest, but through choice. Not through fear, but through hope. The galaxy would never be the same.